This is Rap the News, and I'm telling you about my dream that I had about three planets. One was the moon, and I know people have a problem with you saying planet, but I'm gonna say it again: planets. We speak English. You know, firmaments. You know what I mean? Planets. That's what I know. You know, and so I don't like to confuse things. If we know planets, then just say planets. But I don't like to change too much. But yeah. Before I saw the planets in the sky, I was at a church, a large church in Long Beach, California, and the pastor was a tall, skinny black man, around 6 feet, 6 feet one, and he was about 70 years old. He had like 3 or 4 daughters, you know, maybe more, but I know it was like three to five daughters, something like that. And they were the ones that was actually doing everything. He had no sons, and basically it was a feast going on inside. I guess I didn't see it going on outside, but it was a lot of cars pulling up in this parking lot or in the parking lot. But also there was like lions. So whatever this church was, they had lions, and these lions ran free. And it's the second time I've seen like lions running free in my dream, in an end time dream. So yeah, third time matter of fact. But I was kind of standing next to my truck, and this is a truck that I sold. So I had some GMC 1 or 2 ton truck or something like that. It was a big ass truck. It was a commercial truck, and I used to haul with that truck, and basically I sold that truck, but in the dream I had that truck, and I'm like in that truck. So it's a big truck, and the lions were passing by, and it jumped up on this one guy, and I don't know if it took a bite out of him or almost bit him, but the woman grabbed the lion and the staff, and they kind of like took the lion back, and it was like a couple of more lions running around. They got the other lion, and then it was like getting dark, and there was one more lion like running around, and then at the last minute they kind of like chased the lion. And I remember the lion like roared, while they were chasing it back to where the lions go, inside where the church area was, and it was like trying to roar to alert other lions, and the staff was laughing at that. Like he tried to warn all the rest of the lions, and they was laughing at that, and that lion went back in there. And so it seemed like we stayed there overnight, and I was in the parking lot of the church. I never did go inside. And so the pastor came out the next day, and he was wedding people, and I'm already married, so I'm there at the church to get married, and my wife is not there. I'm just there by myself, with a bunch of strange people that I don't know, and he says it's about time that you go ahead and get wedded. And I was like, all right. He said, well, we're gonna do this over here, you ready? And I said, yeah, I'm ready. And so he did the vows. This is weird. My wife is on the phone. So the pastor got a big ass black phone, and I remember it was a thick, big black phone, flat, and I had my regular phone, and we both got my wife on the line, and we taking vows, and she's saying I do, and I'm saying I do, and then after he finished, he said, do you guys got wedding rings? And I said I didn't have any wedding rings, but like some kind of like brass rings like went inside my mind. And I said, oh yeah, we can get wedding rings. It ain't no big thing. It ain't no big thing to get a wedding ring. And so he said, well, y'all duly wed. So after he wed us, it sounded like I was happy, but it was weird that I was getting married over the phone. Some kind of, I don't know where she was. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. And so I'm looking up in the sky, like you see this picture, and I saw the moon, and I was like, I wonder if there's any planets by the moon. And I saw the golden planet to the right of the moon. It was barely coming out from on the right side of the moon. and just like it is right there. And then when I looked harder, and this was in between some trees, and when I looked harder, I saw Earth behind the moon and the golden planet. So all the way in the back was the Earth, a new Earth, and it was way bigger than the moon. So it was, the moon couldn't conceal it. And then there was a small gold planet, and that was in between the moon and the Earth, and it was all about to come together. Where you probably couldn't see it as you was, and it was about to get dark too. So it was right before it just about before it get dark. So I was trying to make the image as close as possible, but it was a tad bit darker than this. And then I woke up. So it came to my mind that that's kind of like the wedding feast, or the end time wedding, but also the bridegroom. That was in my head. But also I don't know. The lions kind of like stood for like danger, and it was still lurking around at that time, and that's what the lion stood for. The pastor, I didn't mention, but he was gay. He was an elderly pastor. He was about 70 years old. He was married. He had children, but he was hiding. I knew in a dream he was hiding his homosexuality, and so yeah, and he was an elderly pastor. And I don't know where his wife was, but I know his daughters was walking around. And he had no sons. That mean that no, his seed was going to stop right there. You know what I mean? And the daughters was the last hope that he pretty much had. And he seemed like a pretty sad pastor. And yeah, and then me getting married over the phone. I take that as, we all ain't going to end up in the same place. So it is some people who deserve to be elevated higher than others. And the other people have to earn their way up to wherever you are. And that is just the truth. We're not all going to be bunched together. God is a fair and just God. So if you're working your ass off for the kingdom, and it's somebody that just barely made it in, they just some sweaty little sinner, and barely escaped perdition, y'all ain't going to be next door neighbors. God elevates his servants, and he going to elevate some of us to a way higher status than others. My wife may be at a lower status than me, but we still going to be wed. So eventually she'll get up to the status. So this is Raptor News. Y'all tell me what y'all think.